This splitter has sustained some damage over a few different track weekends, so I'm going to install some new brake ducts, new oil pan gaskets, and fix the splitter. Alright, so we've got the oil drained. I've got most of the pan bolts disconnected, so all I have to do is disconnect our oil temperature sensor over here. Alright, so here's a shot inside the belly of our VQ here. Even after 140,000 miles, everything's still looking pretty good. Once those new gaskets get in the mail, we will put the pan back on, put a fresh oil in. So let's get back to fixing that splitter. You can see the splitter's taken quite a bit of damage. Mostly just some pretty big scrapes. This is the worst damage right here, where it lost a fight with a shallow exit out of a parking lot. These naca ducts for the brakes are going to be replaced with a front-mounted duct in the middle on the top of the spoiler. So I'll have to close that off. This spoiler will be replaced before I enter TT3 next year, but for the rest of my track days, it will suffice. So after some time with a body hammer, I was able to get the front of the splitter mostly flat. Again, it will have to be replaced before competition, but just for learning track orientations, it'll do just fine. I've got the splitter as repaired as I can. Added a lot of rivets to make it more secure, and we've got that new brake duct in the middle. We have a thicker reinforcing plate here where we had some previous damage. Hopefully that should hold up. But I'm really excited about this new brake duct design. It should work really well right in the center of the splitter, right on top of the surface. Get a lot of good airflow to the brakes. So now that the splitter is fixed and the front bumper is off, I've got to replace my old oil cooler and transmission cooler. They're just not quite keeping up with the cooling needs of the car, so I'm going to replace them with these nicer style oil coolers. So it's more like a radiator instead of the simple tube and fin design. So let's get started on those. We have both of the coolers mounted here in front of the radiator. The oil cooler is the smaller one on the left, and the transmission cooler is the larger one on the right. So I've got all the hoses run under here. I'm waiting on some fittings in the mail to attach the oil cooler to its hoses. But yeah, pretty much ready. So 2 different times now I've tried putting the oil pan back on with RTV and it's leaked. So I just went out and bought 2 gaskets for it, and hopefully that'll fix our problem. Alright, we've got the oil pan back on with the gaskets in. Just got to hook back up the oil temperature sensor, put the drain plug back in, fill it up with oil, and she'll be ready to go. So our track repairs are basically done. We've got the new brake duct right there in the middle, the new hoses ready to run up to the ducting. Our 2 new coolers are installed. We're just waiting on 2 brass fittings for them. And we're waiting on 2 gaskets for the oil pan. And we'll all be ready to go back to the track. But before that, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next week.